oh my god, it's October, which means spooky season is back. And the scariest surprise of the year is that Konami, yes, Konami, has managed to remake 2 of its horror classics, and both somehow turned out great. The first being Silent Hill 2, which is amazing and I can't believe Blooper Team pulled it off, and the second one being the revamp of an often forgotten Castlevania game. Released as part of the Castlevania Dominus collection, Haunted Castle Revisited is exactly what it sounds like. It's a beautifully done rework of one of the series' strangest entries, the arcade exclusive Haunted Castle, which itself is a reimagining of Castlevania 1. This time, however, the game has been given a fresh look and some extra polish under the hood, making it a brilliant addition to the classic Castlevania catalog. Whether you're slashing through skeletons in the forest, clashing in a thrilling duel with Frankenstein's monster, or weaving past Medusa heads in the Grand Hall, Haunted Castle Revisited is sure to please fans of the series with its slick and punchy gameplay. Borrowing from Castlevania 4, Simon has full control over his jumps, meaning you can adjust yourself mid-air, which is a crucial feature in this game to keep your Belmont out of harm's way. As expected, you wield your trusty vampire killer to thwart off Dracula's underlings as you tread through gothic castles and eerie passageways. However, this time there's a twist. In place of fully upgrading your whip for maximum damage, you'll find temporary upgrades that last about 10 to 15 seconds. While I think it's a decent attempt at something different, with its short duration, I find my upgrades running out before I really get to put them to good use. Also, fans of the 8-directional whip will be disappointed that this game hasn't been retooled for that quality of life change. Despite that, I don't feel as though the game needs it, as the action isn't nearly as frantic nor as demanding as other titles. With that being said, what's here is great, and cracking your whip is plenty satisfactory. Of course, sub-weapons make a comeback to help even the odds, although I didn't find myself using them as often as I normally would, which isn't a bad thing as you no longer need to rely on them to vanquish tougher foes. Despite that, they still come in handy from time to time. With the adjustments in place, the levels largely preserve the essence of the originals, although some areas have been trimmed down to reduce monotony, and other sections have been refined and redesigned for a smoother overall flow. Visually, the remaster adopts a darker, more gothic palette that suits the game's tone, though I did appreciate the original's brighter colors reminiscent of Super Castlevania. Even so, the updated designs look fantastic, especially the revamped boss battles, which elevate the rather generic originals into something truly formidable, with the standout improvements being the monster and his maker, and Dracula's intense new second form. With a concise runtime of just 6 levels, a brilliant soundtrack of classic tunes, and some smart fixes that improve what was a flawed game, Haunted Castle Revisited breathes new life into an often overlooked entry, offering Castlevania fans their first fresh Vintagevania experience since Rebirth. And that fact alone makes M2's endeavors a commendable effort. Still, it's understandable why this was included as a bonus title in the Dominus collection. Despite the clear effort put into the project, that 30 to 40 minute playthrough feels like it could have been enhanced with a few extra levels or additional boss battles to truly capture that full-on adventure of a familiar Castlevania experience. But as a longtime fan of the series, I found this to be a fun excursion that's perfect for scratching that Halloween itch. So if your finger trigger is looking for a Dracula-slaying good time, you might as well pick up the Dominus collection and get this remake, the original Haunted Castle, and 3 other Castlevania games to satisfy your thirst, as it is definitely worth your time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this episode, consider checking out these other videos right here, or even subscribing. Also, if you'd like to throw me a couple of bucks, you can support the show on Patreon.